you. Thank you. To mark the 10th year of this show and the end of this decade, we take great pleasure in announcing the Artists of the Decade. Here are just some of the most successful artists of the 90s.
Mariah Carey. Celine Dion. Whitney Houston. Janet Jackson. Madonna. Shania Twain.
Here's a clue. Billboard's Artist of the Decade holds the record for most weeks one single has ever held the #1 spot. Here's another clue. Except for Elvis and the Beatles, this person has more #1 hits than any other artist in history. This truly international artist who transcends all categories wrote their first single at age 4, their first platinum album at age 18, and has gone platinum in 33 countries. And according to Haynes, has the best legs in the business. Woo! Here is a Billboard Artist of the Decade. My granddaughter, my goddaughter, she's my everything. She just called me and said, "Godmother, help me." I don't have to help you. Miss Mariah Carey, you're all up. The legendary Mariah Carey. I love you. Am I straight? No? You good? Yes. You good? She's ready.
Everyone needs a fairy godmother to help them out, and this is an angel right here. Thank you, Patti LaBelle. I love you. Thank you. Oh. Woo! Woo! This is all very surreal to me because it seems like not so long ago that I was a kid in high school with a demo tape and a lot of determination and just really the desire to hear my songs on the radio. I mean, I didn't know about platinum or gold records or like what you had to sell to get them. I mean, I didn't even know about the Billboard charts. Sorry, but I didn't know. And then it all happened so fast, and it's like my life became public. I lived in the recording studio, writing and singing, and that's how I made so many records in so little time, pretty much having no life. But I'd like to thank my mom for inspiring me and thank Don Einer and all my Columbia Records family for so much support. And I'd like to thank all the amazingly dedicated Sony people around the world. And obviously, I have to thank Tommy Mottola for his support, specifically during the beginning of my career. And I have to thank everyone at Maroon Entertainment for their unparalleled dedication. I've been traveling around the world, right? You know, promoting Rainbow, my new album. And it's kind of like my message of hope for the new millennium. And it's been so moving to see so many devoted fans in continents where we don't even speak the same language, where people are singing back the lyrics to me that I wrote. And that means so much to me because I put all of myself into my music. So as a writer and as a producer, I thank you. And I'm so grateful to God to have overcome so many obstacles as a multiracial person with a very dysfunctional history until recently. I am not Cinderella. My life has not been a fairy tale. Forget the image, forget the ensembles, forget the rumors, forget the short skirts, big hair, whatever. I owe this to the fans, and I will never forget you. So I want to accept this award on behalf of all of you. You've come a long way, and I feel like I'm just getting started. Because as an artist, and most importantly, as a person, I am genuinely happy and finally free to be who I really am. Thank you.
The number one spot on the Billboard Hot 100 had a near permanent resident in the 1990s. That was Mariah Carey. The first decade of her career yielded a ludicrous 16 number one singles from her first 7 albums, 4 of which were number one albums. At the end of 1999, Mariah Carey had a number one single for every year since her debut in 1990. That's a number one hit every single year for 9 years. 1991 alone yielded 3 of those, and that was only her second year in the business. As Y2K rapidly approached, one could only imagine the career heights that awaited Mariah in the new millennium. And she definitely reached those heights, although Mariah wouldn't quite make her mark on the 2000s until 2005 with a little album titled The Emancipation of Mimi. And in the interim period between her 1990s reign and her 2005 revival, Mariah Carey would endure perhaps one of the most vertical and baffling drops in popularity for a pop star in the last 25 years. A woman who showered the 1990s with 16 smash hit classics was about to not only be marked as the laughingstock of the industry, but betrayed by both the media and her own record labels.
This is like, I wrote a little speech. I usually just wing it, but tonight I said, I gotta write something down before I forget. Okay, I have to say, first of all, this is a completely and totally bizarre experience for me to be receiving the award for Artist of the Millennium. Hello. I mean, it's the same award that Michael Jackson is receiving. I mean, he's been making number one records prior to my birth. He's truly a legend, and I just feel blessed to be here tonight. The funny thing is, I still actually feel like that little girl living on a mattress on the floor, making a demo tape and just trying to get heard. And there's a lot of those people out there. So everybody out there, keep your head up. If you're working towards a dream, don't give up and don't stop.
Maria Carey. Hello, Maria. And how are you today?
Actually, it's Mariah Carey.
Okay, now your last album, Horsefly, was quite interesting. Could you tell me a bit?
You mean Butterfly?
We've got the new, latest effort out. It's called Prism, I believe.
I don't know where you got this prism thing from, but it's called Rainbow.
Guess who's back in the house with 2 big tig-old bitties for your mouth? What does that mean, actually?
Actually, the part you're talking about is the Bratz verse. That's not even me doing that part. If this comes out good, can I get a freaking MTV Video Award or nomination at least? It's so ambitious. I don't know how much of the original concept is going to end up actually being on MTV. So we're going to have to see. I mean, I'm really working hard here, okay? Oh, now she's doing the hip-hop thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's not like that at all. It's just that now...
She's just trying to make sure she's with it.
Yeah, not at all. It's just that, I mean, if I'm going to do an up-tempo, I want it to be hot. I don't want it to be some boring, thing that I don't like. I mean, so I'd rather... What I tried to do with this album is incorporate the ballads with the songs that are more, the up-tempo records, and use... interludes to kind of segue between them so that you wouldn't feel this jolting thing, So, I mean, I told you about the cover of Against All Odds. It's pretty hard to go from a record with Missy Elliott and Brat, that's a loop of a Snoop Dogg record, right, to Against All Odds. But because working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who are really genius at figuring out interludes, and we really had a great musical partnership, we kind of figured out how to make these transitional pieces that would make the album work. And I think sequencing this album was really important. And I tried to kind of tell a story in the sequencing and make it all kind of make sense.
When you dream now about the future, what do you dream about? When you fantasize about, when obviously acting is part of it, because it's an extension.
Yes.
So it won't just say singer, it'll say singer, songwriter, musician, producer, actress.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But do you think of other musical... Where are you going musically?
Well, again...
Because you're all of a sudden performing, and associating yourself with a rather extraordinary group of people in terms of music today.
Right. Well, I mean, it's funny because working with artists that I love, that I'm inspired by too. I mean, I've worked with Brat a number of times. Missy and I have worked together. This is the first time I worked with Jay-Z and also Snoop. And that's the thing that people don't realize. It's like we're all musicians. You know, we're all influenced by each other's work. So it's not such a stretch. And people, you know, often like a rapper will have 5 guest rappers on their album or 4 guest vocalists. It's not a big deal in R&B or in hip hop. It's just in the pop world, people don't understand that it's, I mean, I don't listen to pop radio. I really don't. I listen to older music, you know, like my favorite classics, or I'll listen to
Like what?
Like Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, Minnie Riperton, you know, songs that I grew up with, or hip hop radio, you know, or whatever's my, you know, hot. So it's like where I feel I'm going musically. Actually, my next project is the soundtrack for All That Glitters, which is set in the 80s. It's set in 1981. So hopefully I'm going to be working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and we're going to be executive producing it together. And I spoke to Rick James. I'm going to try to make it really like a retro kind of 80s album, which is actually works with what's going on musically today because everybody's sampling records from the 80s anyway. So, I mean, that's my next project musically.
With only one album left to fulfill her contract with Sony, and with a burning desire to separate herself from the label still headed by her ex-husband, Tommy Mottola, Mariah went into overdrive. She completed the Rainbow album in just 3 months in mid-1999, making it the unofficial conclusion to her legendary late 90s trilogy, which began with Daydream in 1995 and Butterfly in 1997. With Rainbow, Mariah leaned into the R&B and hip-hop influences that were becoming more central to her sound. The album produced 2 #1 hits, Heartbreaker and Thank God I Found You, while Against All Odds, Take a Look at Me Now topped the UK charts. Rainbow debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and gave her the highest first-week sales of her career at the time. But behind the scenes, things were ugly. Her already tense relationship with Columbia Records grew increasingly hostile. The label deliberately sabotaged her, refusing to promote later singles and essentially leaving her to push her own music. At one point, she even had to ask fans via her website to request her songs on the radio because the label simply wouldn't. And while it made no sense for Columbia to undercut one of their biggest artists, since her success was their success, the reality was that Tommy Mottola wanted Mariah gone. Despite the drama, she was still on top of the world. She received Billboard's Artist of the Decade award and was crowned best-selling pop female artist of the millennium at the World Music Awards. These were major honors, ones that recognized Mariah's dominance throughout the 90s, and in retrospect, they're even more significant considering how quickly the industry would turn against her in just a few short years. Between Butterfly and Rainbow, Mariah had begun working on a film and soundtrack titled All That Glitters. However, Columbia had different plans. They wanted a greatest hits album released in time for the holiday season in 1998, and Mariah, always the workhorse, put her film project on hold. The result was #1s, which despite being a contractual obligation, still became a major success. Then in 1999, she decided to put All That Glitters on pause once again to finish Rainbow and get out of her contract with Columbia. The moment she was free, she was ready to finish what she started. By now, her working relationship with Mottola had completely deteriorated. He wanted her off Columbia and she wanted out.
I'm not supposed to say what I'm gonna say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
Please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Turn that off, please. No, what? I don't mind. Tape it. Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so badly I had to hold her. And she said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones. And he's very, very evil. And she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. And we have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Oh! Here you go!
We can't allow him to do this to great artistry. We just can't.
Virgin Records saw an opportunity and swooped in with a $100 million deal. one of the most expensive record contracts of all time. For comparison, in 1991, Janet Jackson broke a record by signing a $40 million record deal with Virgin Records in 1991. Just days later, her brother Michael would break that record with a $65 million deal with Sony that same year. And Janet would break her brother's record in 1996 with an $80 million deal.
Like Mariah Carey just had this big $20 million. That's like a huge deal, right?
So you feeling that?
No, well, what I mean, I don't understand. What the public sees the word $20 million an album. Well,
let's see. Do you all think that's a good deal?
I mean, tell me why. I mean, what am I missing?
Okay, let's do some math.
Okay.
If
you do math like that?
Yeah, kinda. If you sign me,
Okay.
you sign me to a record company,
Right.
or a record deal. Let's suppose you have a record company.
Right.
How much would you give me? The album sells for $18, right? $18.
Whatever, yeah.
All right. How much of that would you give me?
Well, I don't know how it works.
Well, no.
Half?
Half? Half sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Check this out. If I sell 1 million copies, I'm going to have $10 million, right? Roughly $10 million.
Right.
If I sell 2 million copies, I got $20 million.
Right.
If I just sell 3 million copies, I got $30 million. Now who has the biggest record deal?
Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Okay.
Right?
Right.
So Mariah kind of got screwed.
Now signed to Virgin, Mariah had full creative control over All That Glitters, a project she had been waiting years to complete. The concept was simple, an 80s-inspired soundtrack that reflected the film's setting, but what should have been a fresh start quickly spiraled into a nightmare.
You're going to start?
July 3rd. And I'm going, in fact, to finish the soundtrack tonight. Flying away, jetting off.
Do you ever rest? Do you ever sleep?
No, that's a problem of mine that I've had for quite some time. Yeah.
And so you expect these starring roles in the concerts? That's a bit of a problem. You know, I'm going to be the mother now. You must slow down, dear.
Well, I need someone to tell me that, so thank you very much. But fortunately, I have a new ensemble in the back that I can go change into, so I'll meet you later.
All right. Congratulations on the nomination.
I'm going to steal one of yours because we match.
We do. We match. We match tonight. Okay. Very good. All right. Don't go away. The excitement continues. Win the 6th annual Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. Continue.
Ooh, collector's item. Here we go.
eBay.
Just finished day 2. I'm completely and totally exhausted, but that's all right because I'm looking forward to collapsing in my trailer, and tomorrow Brad's going to be here, so everything's going to be all right. 20-something hours? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all right. Now, you have been up for 20-something hours because you were telling me that you've just finished wrapping a film as of this morning. Is that correct?
Yes, 3 a.m., and then I got home, I guess I got in bed about 6 a.m., and I'm fine, but the rest of the people with me are like ready to collapse. They're seeing double. I unknowingly had imposed this intense, work ethic on myself that nobody could maintain.
Let's talk a little bit about that work ethic, because it's one thing to say Mariah Carey's a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to say Mariah Carey is a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between the two. You are a workaholic?
I don't know if it's workaholic, but it's the nature of this business. But I just take that work ethic and I kind of push it past the limit.
Louise, look at my manager. She's so upset right now. She's so concerned. Kids don't care if I act like a freak right now because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and who cares? What should I be? Should I sit here like, whoa, man, I'm really serious about this whole thing. Ta-da-da. No, because guess what? I am having fun.
A new movie, Glitter, coming out. It's coming out Labor Day weekend, right?
Yes, it is.
So you can tell us about the movie. Actually, is acting something you've always wanted to do?
I've always wanted to do. When I was little, I used to always be in plays and stuff. But then, for whatever reasons, I couldn't do it for a certain period of time, and now I can. Mm-hmm. And so, so I'm happy about that. And the movie comes out Labor Day weekend. You guys are making it. Right.
We love Mariah. Just give it up for Mariah, y'all.
Mariah's real, y'all.
Yo, we love Mariah.
I'm sorry. So what's the concept behind the movie Glitter and the role you play? The role I play is a character named Billy. She grows up in a foster home. She's taken away from her mom because her mom's an addict. And so that's kind of like her struggle that she goes through. And she's with this DJ in 1982. That's when it takes place.
All right, interesting sounding, y'all.
Yes.
So this is the worst
please help
part.
me out and go
This
see
is the
it.
worst
Check
part.
out Glitter.
Because it was my idea and because I was one of the producers, I ended up doing a lot of jobs and wearing a lot of different hats. This was different than my other, hopefully the rest of my experiences will be, because it was a lot of work. It was a big process for me to overcome certain obstacles to get to the place where I could even say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make a movie. And then to actually get the movie made was a really, really big step. And now that everybody's really happy with it with the studio, it's just a great feeling of validation.
By early 2001, Mariah was juggling way too much at once. She was filming All That Glitters, now simply titled Glitter, recording a soundtrack, and adjusting to a new label. The cracks started to show when she began posting bizarre messages on her official website.
So basically all I really want to say is I don't know what's going on with life, and I hope all the fans are good, and I just want you to know that I'm trying to understand things in life right now. And so I really don't feel that I should be doing music right now. And I just want everyone to understand that. And that's really true. So if I don't make music, it's not because I don't want to, for you fans. And I'm just going to do this for me. And I know that the people who care about me will care about me, but I just can't trust anybody anymore right now because I don't understand what's going on. And I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody. But the truth is, I am calling to say that I love you to my fans. I hope this message gets to you. I'm not going to be, Glitter's going to be out soon, and you're going to have that. And then I'm going to be taking some time off.
Her public appearances became more erratic, and soon the media pounced. The breaking point came in July 2001 with the infamous TRL incident.
I'm real the
Lover
remix
boy, come on and love me.
What the hell's that?
Give me more.
What?
Touch
Mariah
me, touch
Carey.
me.
You gotta be kidding me.
Ice cream truck. Come on. Wow.
I was just going to commercial.
Hi. Okay, wait. Where's my spot? I got a present for you.
Okay.
Wait, where am I supposed to stand for this?
I don't know. What are you doing here is the question.
I'm here. Can you hold this?
Yeah, sure.
I brought you a present. It's this shirt.
Yes, of course it does. What are you doing? Oh my God. What are you doing? Mariah Carey is stripping on TRL right now.
You're my therapy session right now, Carson.
Okay,
you
what's
see,
wrong?
every now and then, somebody needs a little therapy.
Yes, I understand that.
And today is that moment for me.
What's wrong? Well, you weren't.
Everything's
Aren't
great.
you busy? You just came by TRL
Hello.
to hang out? I did not know about this.
We're just here.
What is this you brought? Is this ice cream? Is this?
It's the ice cream truck. See, they had decorated this. Wait, try to avoid shots because these shorts are really short.
just don't move. Talk about the ice cream.
But we got to discuss this. Okay.
I didn't know about this. We'll be right back with Mariah Carey on TRL, unexpectedly passing out ice cream.
While the moment was pushed as her being erratic and random, it was a minor moment overall, but of course the tabloids turned it into a spectacle. A few days later, Mariah was hospitalized for extreme exhaustion. The truth, she was having a full-fledged nervous breakdown. Despite everything, the Glitter rollout continued. The lead single, Loverboy, dropped in June 2001. It was met with mixed reviews, with critics both praising and criticizing its retro 80s production and the use of the candy sample. The song struggled on the radio, peaking at number 2 at the Billboard Hot 100, her worst performing lead single at the time, which is odd to me. Number 2 is pretty good, but anyways. The Loverboy drama went deeper than just weak airplay. Mariah originally planned to sample Yellow Magic Orchestra's 1978 track Firecracker for the song, but suddenly Jennifer Lopez, who was signed to Columbia under Tommy Mottola, secured the exact same sample for I'm Real. Mottola, still bitter over Mariah leaving, had allegedly pulled the strings to get Jennifer the sample first, forcing Mariah to rework Loverboy with a different sample at the last minute.
Everybody, my daughter over there. She's gonna be a really big star one day. You guys in for a real treat. Come on, y'all, give her a hand. Come on, give her a hand.
In a world everything.
Hey, Billy, can you repeat that verse? It don't matter. They're just backup.
One woman is about to get the chance
When the microphone comes, do something special.
to go from unknown
You have got a beautiful voice. I want to produce you. Yeah, right.
to a world she's only dreamed of.
Don't you be getting all freaky on the first date. It's not a date.
Remember the name, Billy Frank. Turn it up.
I'm on the radio.
I'm a big fan. Maybe we should get together. They want you to work with other producers.
The label makes these decisions.
You can't let them use the best of you.
What makes you think that's the best of me?
Music brought them together. Could tear them apart.
Playing us, we go together. Don't forget that.
But love
He's here.
will never let it end. Mariah Carey. Glitter.
Musically, Glitter marked a noticeable shift for Mariah. Since the parent film was set in 1983, the soundtrack was heavily inspired by the sound of that era, blending retro 80s production with her signature pop and R&B ballads. Mariah aimed to evoke nostalgia with samples and remakes that would either take listeners back or introduce younger fans to a vintage sound through a modern lens. In her own words, Mariah explained that while the uptempos and remakes were designed to match the film's period, the album still reflected how she would make a record in the present day, with ballads that could stand alone as true Mariah Carey songs. If anything, Glitter was a fun experiment and showcase for the talent of Mariah Carey. She was given a unique task of crafting a body of work that fits as both a film soundtrack as well as a proper entry in her catalog. Glitter is quite frankly the most musically ambitious thing that Mariah Carey has ever done. It is a body of work that showcases a musical phoenix expanding her ambition but getting punished for it. In far less melodramatic phrasing, Glitter was Mariah attempting to broaden her musical repertoire and flex her talent a bit. Glitter is without a doubt her most musically distinct record, thanks entirely to its 80s inspired production, and she truly sounds great here. The first song I ever heard from this album was her cover of Cherrelle's 1984 single, I Didn't Mean to Turn You On, notably written and produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the duo partially responsible for Janet Jackson's reinvention in 1987 with Control. The sound of Mariah's normally 90s R&B vocals against the backdrop of that Minneapolis funk sound that Jimmy and Terry pioneered sounded so pleasing to me. It was so distinct from the Mariah Carey that I knew. In a weird way, Glitter gives us a glimpse of what a Mariah Carey album could have sounded like had she debuted in, say, 1984. Fitting, considering she stands in musical stature next to artists who debuted and or dominated in the 1980s. Glitter isn't a 100% recreation of a classics 80 record. It sounds very much like it was produced in 2001 at times. The third track, If We, sounds very of the times, and that's not a bad thing at all. It's a highlight of the record for me, and honestly, this should have been a hit. Glitter does have its fair share of features. I would argue that the overabundance of guests overshadow Mariah on her own album at times. The biggest offender here being track 8, a modern cover of Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. Much like the rest of Glitter, the song is musically distinct from anything Mariah has ever done, and as much as I love it, every time I listen to this song in particular, I found myself wishing I had a solo version with Mariah's vocals only, just because the featured ad-libs drown her out at times. I love Busta Rhymes, I just like to hear less of him on that particular record. At a certain point in the song, Busta Rhymes, DJ Clue, and Mariah are all going at the same time, and it's kind of overstimulating. Mariah feels like a background character on Last Night in particular. Although Glitter nails its 80s theme with tracks 6 and 9, All My Life and the Eric Benet duet Want You, two of Mariah's most criminally underrated cuts ever. The album also hosts the usual Mariah ballad standards like the second track, Lead the Way, the criminally underrated fourth single, Reflections Care Enough, as well as the second single, Never Too Far. Never Too Far is very much a classic pop diva ballad. The song was released as the album's second single on August 14th, 2001. A music video was planned, but was canceled in the midst of Mariah recovering from her bout of exhaustion coupled with her breakdown. The final track is the mournful encore titled Twister. Though it was featured in the film, it had nothing to do with the movie. It is a tribute to Mariah's late friend and stylist Tondra Twist, who tragically took her own life in 2000. Twister is, in my opinion, one of the most gorgeous things that Mariah Carey has ever done. And I feel that statement applies to the entirety of Glitter. I firmly believe the harsh reception of Glitter deterred Mariah from straying too far from her core sound ever again. The initial reception to this record was quite frankly unfair. The public couldn't separate the film and the soundtrack. I hardly refer to this album as a soundtrack, honestly. To me, it's a Mariah Carey album, no different than Emotions, Butterfly, or Albert Einstein. And when viewed through that lens, it's far easier to digest. The fact of the matter is that much of the negative reception of Glitter, the album, was simply by being associated with its unfortunate box office flop.
Kids every day who are in the same, a lot of them in the same position, who say they have been overwhelmed by their lives. They're not Mariah Carey, but they're overwhelmed by their lives and lost themselves.
Right.
It seems like that's what happened to you. You got
lost
overwhelmed.
a human being.
Yeah, you lost yourself.
I was caretaking for the career. I was overcompensating for the career and totally lost myself, if that makes any sense.
It does make a lot of sense. I talked to lots of people who are not up on stage doing it, but who are just leading ordinary lives who lose themselves in the process.
Right, but of course we as celebrities are not allowed to do that. You know what I mean? Because then the press wants to make it into some bizarre, scenario, as opposed to being sympathetic. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand how somebody can be taking care of a house full of kids and have a relationship, maybe a difficult relationship, or sometimes also work a job and get exhausted. It happens.
The Glitter soundtrack was released on September 11th, 2001, a date that would ensure failure no matter how good the product was. In the wake of the tragic attacks, nobody cared about a campy musical drama. The album was panned by critics, and the movie was a box office disaster. In the industry's eyes, Mariah had gone from pop's golden girl to a joke. The Glitter failure sent shockwaves through the industry. Virgin Records, which had just signed her to one of the biggest deals in history, was now desperate to cut their losses. They invoked a clause in her contract and paid her $28 million to leave the label, officially dropping her. It was humiliating. The biggest female artist of the 90s was now being dismissed like an afterthought. When all was said and done, Mariah had endured sabotage from her ex-husband and former label, public humiliation, a bombed album and movie, and getting dropped from her new label. It was, without a doubt, the lowest point of her career. But Mariah Carey is not the type to disappear. She didn't need to prove anything. She had already redefined pop music. Most artists would have crumbled under this level of scrutiny and ridicule. Just months after Glitter, Mariah was already back in the studio penning her first attempt at redemption.